What is up, YouTube tool tubers of the world? My name is Brad. Welcome to the workbench, and today we're going to look at another saw blade. Today we got the Ridge Carbide Super Blade. So I'm sure it's just going to slice, it's going to dice, it's going to cross cut right through all this wood. Okay, I'm going to quit being so excited. But we're going to take an in-depth look at this blade. We're going to make some rips, some cross cuts, same material as the last blade, and we're going to see how it performs. Alright guys, so what we got here is the Ridge Carbide 40 tooth ATB+R Super Blade. And this is a general purpose blade. And Ridge Carbide did send this over to me for review. I've had this blade for about 4 months. I've built projects with it. I've done a lot of work with it. I know exactly what this blade is capable of and what it's not capable of. We're going to talk about the tooth pattern because that's really important when selecting a blade. What we got here is an ATB+R. Now, if you remember last time, ATB is alternate top bevel, which basically means this tooth here is going to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left. Just like an ATB blade should, right? But now we have an R. So that means every fifth tooth we have this little guy. What are you doing there, buddy? You're not going anywhere. Because that's a flat top grind. Or they call it a raker. So ATB+R, alternate top bevel plus a raker. So what is that raker for? Well, you remember the last blade was just an ATB. So we couldn't do dados. This is what a dado would look like. Because you didn't have anything that's taken out this middle section. You had teeth going left, you had teeth going right. And there was always just a little piece missing. Now, granted, this is very exaggerated. So this raker comes through that every fifth tooth and tries to take out just a little bit of this. So gives you a little bit better dados. It's still not a full flat top grind blade. Still not having an actual dado set, but it does offer you better dados than just an ATB blade. This blade was a full kerf blade, which all that means is if we measure the thickness of the blade, we're at 1/8. Just randomly get another one here that you can see. 1/8. 1/8. So again, precision on these premium blades, you ain't even got to worry about. The saw I have right here, this old school belt driven Craftsman, is about the smallest saw you want to put a blade like this on. If you got a little job site saw or something like that, no. Don't even try. But they do have an option of getting a thin kerf blade, which I believe is 3/32 of an inch thick. So with a thin kerf blade, you have less material loss. You're not working your machine as hard. But the only drawback is if you need to do box joints or something like that, 3/32 is a little bit more difficult to calculate than an 1/8 of an inch. Alright guys, so now that you know a little bit about the blade, we're just going to rip through a variety of materials. Very common that most people are going to be working with. It's going to give you a real good showing of what this blade is capable of and what it's not. We got some 2x pine, which is really 1.5 inches. 1x pine, really 3/4. Don't ask me why they do that. 3/4 inch plywood, which is just under 3/4. We got some 1-inch oak, which is an actual 1 inch. I milled it down myself. And then they say the max capacity on this blade is about 2 inches, which is how most of the 40 tooth blades of this caliber are. But we're going to go a little bit more and go with 2¼ inch oak. Now this oak is hard as a rock. I've said it before, I'll say it again. This is going to be a real true test to see if there's any burning. So enough of the talking, let's get to ripping. And let's just take a look at how well this blade performed. I left the sound up for the cuts, that way you can really hear if the motor's struggling or not. And with our 1x pine, I didn't think we'd have an issue, and we didn't. 2x pine, which is really 1.5 inches, remember. Let's take a nice close-up. Look at that. No tear out. No issues to worry about. Smooth as smooth can be. I wouldn't even stand that. That's good enough. Here's the tear out king right here, right? Plywood, backside always gets torn out. Let's take a close look. Just a tiny microscopic amount. Nothing that would be a detriment to a project or anything like that. Now this kind of perplexed me a little bit, right? We'll just look at it. The 1-inch oak. Beautiful cut. No issues. And then a little bit of burning at the end, okay? But I went to the 2 1/4, right? No burning at all. Maybe a little bit on that knot right there. So the only thing I can think of with this one, well, there's two things. The oak right here could be a little bit harder, maybe. Or the more likely case is I ran it too slow and it's a little bit of human error in there. This one I fully expected to have some burning, especially after seeing this one come through. Fully expected it, and nothing. Other than that knot right there. So great, it rips fantastic, no issues there. Let's see how it does with cross cutting. And I'm gonna cross cut right through this same area where it burned. Alright, let's get to cross cutting. Woo! 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 Was that as good for you as it was for me? Real quick, we'll go through them again. 1x pine. No issues at all. Them holes were from failed pocket holes or a piece I just didn't use. I can't remember. Nice cut. Especially, you gotta remember, this is a 40 tooth cross-cutting blade. The 2x material, no problems at all. Sliced right through it like butter. 3/4 inch plywood. Let's look for tear out. Again, with my shaky hands. Again, very minimal, if any. Nothing I would really be too worried about. 1x oak. Beautiful cut, no issues. Nice little glisten on there. It's almost like it polishes the end. And the big boy, right through the knot, like I said I was going to. No burning. Nice little polished end again. If you catch the light just right, that's acceptable to me all day long. One thing I kind of didn't do in the last video was I talked about the dados, but I didn't actually cut one. See that I haven't cleaned this up with a chisel at all. This is the cut that it left. See just how that raker doesn't quite get all of it. So like I said, it's not a replacement for an actual flat top grind. I would cut dados with this, you know, especially for projects that are not super critical shop projects, stuff like that. Now, if this was going to be like a fancy box or something like that, I'd probably swap out to an actual dado stack. And then, of course, I did have a little fun with it. Try to see how thin of a slice I could get off of that oak. Look how much it moves when you even slice it that thin. Super thin. Let's hold it up to the light. Isn't that cool? This really proves nothing. I just find it fun and amusing. Alright guys, so that's really it. I mean, I don't know what else there is to tell you about this blade. It's a wonderful blade. It's one of the best kept secrets in woodworking. If you watch Stumpy Nups, he even raves about this blade. Once it starts going dull, you just send it back in, and they'll resharpen it for you for a small fee, like 20-30 bucks, depending on the tooth count, maybe more. And they'll send it right back to you. It's another great USA made saw blade. It'll cut through softwoods, hardwoods, plywoods. It'll cut dados. I mean, this is truly a general purpose blade. And in my opinion, I think this is really the only true general purpose blade on the market, since it will do decent dados as well. It's a punch in the gut, just like the other one with the initial investment. But the fact that you spend the $120 or whatever it is, I'll pop up a picture, and you got a blade, for most people, it's going to be for the rest of your life unless you cut through a screw or you really damage it. And even if you damage it, they'll be willing to look at it and see what they can do for you. If you're in the market for a premium saw blade, I really say you can't go wrong with this. Make sure you hit that like button right up there, hit that subscribe button, and I'll holler at y'all next time. Peace! Now what is that raker? Now what is that raker for? Well, you remember in the last sorry this isn't in focus. You know, shit happens, but you get the point.